Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network, joined by my great friend from thespun.com. You know, Matt, people were teasing me. Again, my wife told me this because I talk about, oh, great friend, great friend. Well, my problem is people like you that, we've been friends for, 2012, 11 years.
Years, yeah.
I don't keep people around if they're not great people. And I'm proud to call you a great person and a great friend, the great Matt Hladek, the editor and publisher of thespun.com. I just want to tell everybody, the spun.com makes me laugh. It covers all of sports, anything trending in any sport, whether it's pickleball or up to the NFL. It is so much fun. Matt, I just wanted to joke with you. One of the things, I was out at the lake the other day, and someone that was out at the lake with me was joking about something on the spun.com. And they're like, man, I found this with Matt, you talking about Matt. I just love it because I don't have to go to a million other places to find out what's going on in sports. He goes, Hondo, I go to you for my Raiders, and then I go to the Spun for everything else. And I thought that you'd appreciate knowing that. Pretty good job you're doing.
I appreciate that, definitely. And, that's what we're here for. We're here to kind of give you a one-stop shop for anything that's going on in the sports world. So you can tell that person, thank you very much, and to keep spreading the word and keep coming back.
So I know that we had told everyone we were going to break down my 53-man roster projections, and we're going to get to that. Not today. The OTAs are over, and I came away with a lot of interesting observations. Now, I predicted the Raiders in my 53-man to take 11 defensive linemen, and I started specifically with 6 defensive tackles. Brian Young, who I still think is going to make it. John Jenkins. Bilal Nichols, who I'm convinced is going to make it. Jerry Tillery, who I'm convinced is going to make it. Jordan Willis is somebody I had, and Jade Nesta Silver. Now, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys I had there at the defensive tackle position. I still think they take 6, but I think Will Ferrell, Matthew Butler, the 2 defensive tackles, they didn't dress a lot. I say a lot. There were games they didn't dress last year. Byron Young, Jade Nesta are in. Bilal Nichols is in. I think now the battle is John Jenkins and Jordan Willis right in there, because this is what I think. Butler, Ferrell, Silvera, Young, Bilal in. And if they're going to keep 6 defensive tackles, it's a battle now between John Jenkins and Jordan Willis. I mean, what does that say about the Raiders if they've got 4 young defensive tackles? I mean, in year 1 or 2, all under contract for foreseeable future. I was talking with one of my colleagues in the media about it while we were standing there on the sideline watching them practice. That says a lot to have 4 guys that are there long-term that you're building in-house. I think that was fascinating. And watching Butler and Ferrell, I saw the attention that they were getting. It clicked in my head. What do you think?
Well, the first thing that it tells me, the fact that they brought in 2 new young guys this year, along with a couple of vets, is that they obviously weren't happy or satisfied with the play they got at that position last year. And we've talked about that a ton on these podcasts. And to me, like you said, I think, you look at Byron Young, he's 3rd round pick. He's making the roster. You're not picking a guy in the 3rd round and cutting him. He's making the roster. Jerry Tillery, Bilal Nichols, those are your projected starters, I guess, right now, or guys with the most experience there. So they're going to be on the roster. So that's 3 spots right there that are locked in. I think what it comes down to with those other spots is, do they go with some guys who have more proven resumes in the league? Jordan Willis, John Jenkins, or have they seen enough from the young guys that they maybe didn't see last year, but enough to keep them around? I'm talking about Matthew Butler, Neil Farrell.
Mhm.
Um, Nesta Jade Silvera is also interesting because he's seventh round rookie. Does he make the 53, or do they think that they could keep him on the practice squad where you see a lot of seventh round picks start their careers? So the position battle there for, I think you're probably your 1, 2, and 3 spots are settled. The battles for 4, 5, and 6 are going to be really fascinating to watch throughout, obviously not just mini camp, but going into the training camp in July and August.
I can't see a scenario that they keep 7 defensive tackles. Do you?
No, I don't either. I mean, even with some guys who might have some versatility where they can play a little bit outside or move around, it's just tough to keep that many defensive tackles in, especially the modern NFL, where passing is more prevalent, and even I think even back in the day, and when it was more of a run built game, that's a lot of defensive tackles have on one roster.
Yeah, the thing that hit me was defensive tackle was lean last year. And when you look at Butler, Farrell, Young, Nesta, Tillery, Bilal, okay, 6 is a lot of defensive tackles. Last year they carried 5. So I think if you're Jenkins, I think if you're Willis, you're battling Nesta, maybe one of the Farrell or the Butler guys. There's a battle in there. But to me, that's why when I say I think this roster, listen, I'm not pretending that they went out and hired a rookie Warren Sapp. I'm not pretending that, they went out and got whomever. But the fact is, I do think they're better today than when they played last year. And that's all you can do is and this is our next question I wanted to get into. By the way, Matt, you know what we forgot to do? The most important thing? We're 2 guys talking without an audience. And forgot to say to the audience, thank you guys. Greatly appreciate you. We are
Always.
growing so fast. Tens of thousands of you are coming and watching our podcasts and videos. And just want to say to you, thank you. We appreciate you greatly. Um, I think it's letting the fan inside the mentality of a Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. I'm going to tell you, when you start looking at all these young guys and all these guys under contract for a period of time, I think it's letting the fans see here's where we're going. We understand you're not this is the problem. A lot of people think the NFL is like college football. You're not going and getting 25 recruits. But I predicted 26 of the 27 53-man roster are going to be different. So you can go get free agents, but stars aren't usually out there. You got to go get pick and play guys, plug and play guys. When you look at though that defensive tackle, is it wrong for me to say I think it's an upgrade? And do you think it's Dave Ziegler letting you in on his thinking process?
I don't think it's wrong to think it's a potential upgrade. Obviously, you have to see how the guys start looking in preseason games and then into regular season games. But I mean, if I'm a Raider fan, I'm hoping it's an upgrade because, like
Right.
we said, this was a weakness last year, and you're hoping that guys like Bilal Nichols and you're hoping Jerry Tillery with another year of experience with the team can seize those starting spots, and you're hoping that if they're drafting Byron Young in the third round, that he's ready to make an impact right away. I'm not saying he's going to be a plug and play 70% of your snaps, but he's ready to be in rotation and contribute, at least as a run stopper on right away. Uh,
Yep.
at at the rest of um the personnel in terms of being an upgrade, some of it might depend on if either of those 2 second-year guys develop, because they could be an upgrade on what they were as rookies, which would be great for the Raiders. Um, Other than that, then you have John Jenkins and Jordan Willis, who have a lot of experience and have a lot of games under their belt. We'll see what they can bring to the table there, especially a guy like Jenkins, who has had a really nice career, but he is getting a little bit older. What kind of role do the Raiders foresee for him? Is he somebody that they can't afford to keep off their roster, or is he somebody that they can say, you know what, let's we can afford to give his spot to a younger guy and hope they can maybe develop a guy who has more of a future with the franchise. So that'll be fascinating to watch. I think it's definitely fine for Raider fans, and they should feel like it's a potential upgrade because if it's not, then you kind of just shuffled the deck chairs on the Titanic and didn't make a big enough impact to really change a position that you needed to change in the offseason.
All right, I wanted to ask you, the Raiders went out and hired Greg Van Roten, the guard from the Buffalo Bills. I think this is really getting undervalued. I understand it's not like fans look at interior linemen and get excited. I get it. I understand it. As a matter of fact, Kyle Cook, the longtime Cincinnati Bengal offensive tackle, and I were joking the other day. We did a podcast together, and he said, "Listen, when you're an offensive lineman and you see somebody wearing your jersey, you know it's your girlfriend or your mom." And clearly it's not that bad, but I get it and I understand it. I mean, and he's a center. What was a center? But I really like this guy. I think he brings a lot to the roster. After watching OTA, I don't think he's battling for a spot. I think he's got a spot. That's why I told everybody my way too early 53-man roster. I'm going to wait till all the OTAs and mini camps are over to redo it again. But I'm already seeing changes just about what my eyes are putting, what I'm putting my eyes on. What do you think of the addition of this guy? And yet again, Dave Ziegler goes out, gets a guy that maybe doesn't have a lot of fanfare, but he's better than what he has or can certainly upgrade what he has. Doesn't break the bank, sound discipline. Again, your thoughts, please.
Well, we were talking about a guy who's 33 who has a lot of starting experience recently. I think he started something like, yeah, 50 something games over the last 5 or 6 seasons. So
Mm-hmm.
was a full-time starter for a year or two in Carolina, started a lot of games for the Jets, played a lot of important football for the Bills last year. So you have that. And then you have the fact that he can play, has a little versatility, excuse me, on the interior. He's the type of guy who I don't know. I mean, you would be more inclined to be able to tell me where his standing will be on the depth chart as time goes on. Is he competing to actually start? Is he competing to just be the first man in at one of those interior spots at the guard position? But he's the type of guy, a veteran who, listen, he's not going to be, John Hanna or, somebody like that, or Zach Martin with the Cowboys now and an all pro guard, but he's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of reliability that you need when you're turning to somebody off the bench who's a vet.
I like you, but you throw a John Hanna comment into any podcast I do, and you go up to the top of my hero list. Um,
That's even before I think he retired before I might have even been born, or right at the end. His career right was when I was born.
all right, you're tanking now. You're falling down my draft board. Um, Again, we're talking about observations from minicamp, and I have a bunch. We're not going to be able to get through them all today, but I want to talk about another. Devontae Adams came out strong. When his comments about not seeing eye to eye, I went on Twitter and I put, listen, he loves Josh. He loves Dave. He wants to be here. I even put the quote he gave me that went viral about, I'm a Raider. I want to be here. And people are like, oh, no, he wants out. I'm told, although I did not see it. That's why I won't name it because I didn't see it personally, but I'm told there were national media saying he's trying to get himself to New York. Not true. And he talked about in an interview not seeing eye to eye. Well, you cannot see eye to eye with people you love, but it doesn't mean you want a divorce. And I told people it's really it was a nothing burger. It was taken and blown up. I think his comments were really blunt. I don't care what people think. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is what I think. The only reason I'm addressing it is because I think it's hurting people that I care about, like Dave and Josh and Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, I don't think people are used to superstars of Devontae's level being that blunt, forthright, and honest because a lot of them are concerned about image and everything else. Max Crosby is another one that I think is an absolute superstar and is the best at his position in the NFL. He's the same way. At the end of the year, when I came out and talked, I did the interview with him, and he talked about, I stand beside Josh. He didn't lose his locker room, always lying. What's he supposed to say? And I said, guys, you don't understand. Now, Colton Miller is that way. Josh Jacobs is that way. I think Colton's a top 5 left tackle. I think Josh Jacobs is a second best running back. So I didn't put him in that tweet. They're still great players, but to me, a superstar is the best at his spot. But what did you think about Devontae just coming out saying, relax? I'm going to be honest with you, Matt. You know the other teams I've covered because we've been friends a long time. I feel bad for Raider Nation. They get played, and it's click, 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 because there's so many of them that go, and then the panic. I feel bad for them. It's almost journalistic malfeasance or malpractice. I think Devontae said exactly what he meant. I don't always see eye to eye with him, but still want to be here, still want to be part of this. Your thoughts?
Yeah, my take, and again, I'm not covering him day to day. I don't know Devontae personally or the way you do, but I think the reason why it became such a big story is the automatic, if Devontae was ready to leave Green Bay. It was pretty clear, he's as close as he is with Aaron Rodgers. He was ready to leave Green Bay, even when Aaron Rodgers was still there. He gets traded to Vegas. He was tight with Derek Carr. Obviously, he wanted to play with him. Things don't work out well in year one, and I think there's going to be a focus on, okay, who's available for trade around the league, because you get that disgruntled superstar, and that's where you said in free agency you don't necessarily see the stars out there, but you're seeing a lot more guys in the NFL and the NBA, the disgruntled stars, disgruntled superstars get traded. That's how teams can rapidly upgrade. So I think that's what people started saying. Hey, is that Devontae Adams? Is he one of those guys now? Because, the Raiders didn't have a good year last year. They're not built to win big right now. They're retooling, rebuilding. But I don't have any reason, like you said, to doubt that he didn't mean what he said. I think he meant what he said. Now I will say this, and this is just me spitballing. I'm not citing any inside info, but I'm just saying I could see a scenario like this play out, or wondering. I'll throw it by you. You let me know. The Raiders come out this year, and they are improved from last year, but don't make the playoffs. Say they win, I don't know. Say they win 8 games. They're 8-9. Could you see a scenario then where Devontae Adams, with a couple of years left on his contract, tries to go somewhere else, whether it's back with Aaron Rodgers or to another team, to try to win a ring if he doesn't feel that there's a chance to win a ring in Vegas? Because I think that'll be interesting. If he feels that they're on the right track after this year, then I do believe that he would want to stick around. He's going to be paid well. He's still, if not the best, one of the 2 or 3 best receivers in football. But I think this year it'll be interesting. I was wondering what your thoughts would be on that.
Yeah, I have not discussed that with him, so I can't get inside his mind. But I will tell you this, and this is purely Hondo opinion. This is not reporting, because I have not discussed this with him. I want everyone to know that right up front. If he doesn't feel like the Raiders are making progress, I could totally see him saying, guys, I want a ring and we're not making progress. I could see that. Again, people are going to run with that. Hondo says Devontae leaving in 2024. Well, no, I'm not. I'm telling you, I haven't discussed that scenario with him. I knew what he felt going into this year. I've talked to him. I knew what he felt about the Raider organization. I mean, I remember the moment that I broke the story, they were going to bench Derek. Oh, Devontae's going to want out too. And I said, if they can make him assurances that they're going to get him somebody with the ability to throw him the football and get him the football, a presence, a veteran presence, he's going to be fine. That's why I asked him that question. And he said, yeah. And so I'm just telling you, because I knew what was going on. I can't answer that. And I just want to make it clear it's Hondo's opinion, but I could totally see that. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
He's
I just want to make it clear too, like I said, I'm not predicting that. I'm not reporting that. I'm just kind of throwing out a hypothetical situation where is that possible? Where if after year two he doesn't feel great about the direction of the franchise, then he might want out. And again, I have no reason to doubt him saying right now what he's saying about, I want to be here, I'm committed, everything.
Okay, great. Now I want to go to one last subject and we're going to let it go. Um, just for today, we'll obviously pick it up with more OTA observations. But Max Crosby talking this week and talking about how people now have there's a base in the foundation. They understand what's going on. And yesterday at practice, two things really hit me. I watched Josh McDaniels I say yesterday, it wasn't, my gosh, sorry. Sorry, I haven't slept much. It wasn't yesterday, but I watched Josh McDaniels spend a lot of time with young guys. Last year, he spent a lot of time with older guys because he was trying to implement a system. I saw a lot. Okay, again, I have to parse my words because what I say will make headlines or be subjects of other things. Last year, he's a teacher. All he did was teach. But you saw him, especially with foundational pieces, spending a lot of time. You saw at OTAs, the first part of OTAs, you saw a lot of, hey, my guys got it now. They understand what I want. I'm going to some other people. So a lot of teaching, but this time to a lot of new guys. Even Max Crosby talked about, we got it now. We understand now. Now we know what they want. To me, that has to make the Raiders better being year two in the system. Agree or disagree?
Certainly, you hope that that's the case. I mean, that's really what any year one for a coaching staff is about. Kind of establishing that culture, as unless you're taking over a team that's ready made to win a Super Bowl somehow, and that rarely happens with coaching changes. It's really about establishing your culture, establishing your foundation, what you're looking for, and building from there. Now, the Raiders last year, they went into the season looking to win now, compete, be back in the playoffs. Didn't work out. Now, I think, when we talked about this on an earlier podcast, now you're looking at things a little bit differently this year. You have your foundation established, you have your culture established, and now you're looking to build up some more building blocks for your team. You're looking to find guys that are going to be around and be cornerstones of your organization for years to come. I think that being in year two with most of these guys, that'll only help because they, like, again, what when you come to work each day, what's expected of you. You understand what the head coach wants, what his assistants want, what the GM is about. So that should help the Raiders this year.
Totally agree. He's the one and only Matt Hladek from thespun.com. I'm Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network. Thanks a lot. And as always to you, my friend, I wish you the best. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good one, man. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, bud.